Hey, it's Mike from Maker Moose. Today I have a Simon Hurley background stamp from Ranger, as well as a coin die set from Spellbinders. This was part of the summer release. I have not gotten to play with it yet. I know it's end of August here, but I thought I'd make some cards with that today. In the video where I first used this stamping platform, the stencil and stamp tool from Sizzix, I mentioned I wasn't sure if it could do rubber stamps, but someone had mentioned to me that you can, as long as you do it at the lower portion. So I'm going to give that a try today. Usually what I do with rubber stamps anyways now, and I think this was a tip from Hero Arts, is you just ink it up. You put your paper on top, and you either use your hand, a brayer, or a stamping pressure tool to apply pressure. And that's worked really well for me. But I thought I'll give this a try just to see how that works for me as well. I have some watercolor paper here today. Just going to cut that real quick. I've got 4 6x6 here and some strips I'll save for another project. So I'm going to try first inking this up with cookie dough. I've been using this a lot for outlining stamps. Okay, now I'm going to try to stick to very light colored things. I'm going to try some, I was going to try Over the Moon, but I think I'll go with Overzealous here. I will try the Over the Moon. I will be trying to go for some no line watercoloring. Doesn't have to be no line, but I want it to be faint line. I don't think I want to go black. I think woof. So I have my 4 background panels here. I'm going to watercolor these. I've been doing a lot of Copic coloring since I started building my set, but I've missed doing watercoloring, and I did a watercolor project the other day, and I remembered how fun it was, but also I need to brush up on my technique. So I have this one was stamped in cookie dough, Over the Moon, I believe Overzealous, and then Woof. I'm going to start with this one here, and I think we're going to try and make this look like oranges. So this was the cookie dough one. I'm going to get some Guppy and some Roar. So Guppy is going to be my main color. And then the Roar is going to be my shadows. I will use a little Overzealous here. I was going to watercolor all of these, but what I might try and do is, I did stamp this one really close to the edge there, but I might try and die cut those ones out and then actually use the background panel here as the background. So these would be die cut out and placed on top of a smaller panel of this. So yeah, well, I was thinking I was going to color this whole thing, but we'll see how that goes. As you can see, my watercoloring needs some practice. So for this, I think I'm going to go with a shooting star and psych. And then I guess a little more overzealous for the leaves again. Colored lemons. These are really blown out. I'm going to try and add some definition there. So I've got some shooting star. And some psych. There, I like that more. So it's just got a little more shading to it. Colored and ready to go. So we've got limes, lemons, and oranges here. I think my favorite technique-wise is probably this one here. Of course, the last one I've done, like I said, I've have not been doing watercoloring for a while. But I actually also really like just how muted this one is. So I'll make some cards. So here's the coordinating dies from Spellbinders. I was a little off center on that one. And when I was looking at the leaves of the sketched citrus background stamp, it reminded me of a embossing folder that I absolutely love and I haven't used recently, probably since the spring. So I've got the Spellbinders Leafy embossing folder here, and I'm going to emboss a watercolor card front. And so with, as far as I know, with the Spellbinders 3D embossing folders, you just need the A and D. That's what my little platform here is telling me. I actually haven't used this to make an embossing folder to emboss anything yet, so. Other than there was some specs from the last paper I had in here, I think this looks great. There. I like this. It's simple, it's clean. I may cut this down to, again, have a little matte layer of the watercolor cardstock. I try not to use my watercolor cardstock for this type of thing too often, just because I don't have as much as regular cardstock. but I think in this case, I'll just trim a little bit of this off and have that matted layer, because the color of the watercolor cardstock is so different than anything else I have. Everything else I have is very, very bright white, where this is kind of an off-white. I've cut down my embossing folder to 3 3/4 by 5. And then I've got my citrus here. So I'm just gonna add some tape runner. I'm gonna add a little bit of glue here, just around the edges. And I'll start adding some foam squares to the back here. Yeah, so there's my Simon Hurley Sketch Citrus background stamp with quartering dies from Spellbinders, a Spellbinders leafy embossing folder, and everything was done on watercolor paper. Hopefully I do get a little better at my watercoloring as I do it more again. It's been quite some time, but I forgot how fun it was. So here are the two first cards I've made using that background stamp. So this first one, I've used watercolor paper to mat a embossed watercolor folder, as well as my 2 watercolored images. It's not very often that I'll do a 1-layer card, but I really like this. This is, it's just very simple. I love that pop of color. And then the inside sentiment, I'm going to do some calligraphy and write, "You add the color to my life." Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you would like to send me a card, you can use my mailing address below. I will send you one in return.